Welcome back to Limestone County Sports, continuing with our coach interviews, getting ready for football season. Got somebody who just left the high school ranks and is now officially 6 days old, head softball coach at Calhoun Community College. Welcome in, Denton Bowling.
Appreciate you having us today.
What's been going on in the world of Coach Bowling? I know you've had a whirlwind over the last week.
Chaos. I mean, it pretty much sums it up. I was fortunate enough to be afforded the opportunity to be the head coach at Calhoun Community College in the softball program. Once that announcement was made Thursday, Friday we were in Gardendale working exposure camps, and then on recruiting trails Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
Came back home, I guess, late Sunday night. Monday we started a youth camp. Met my team for the first time Monday afternoon, and a little meet and greet, and had to bring them back to work the exposure camp here at Calhoun. I guess it was yesterday. So
Yeah.
today's the first day to just kind of, okay, let me take a deep breath and then get ready to go again this weekend.
Yeah, so been a little busy, but nothing new into in the softball world. Obviously, you came from Hatton, where you've coached a few years of softball and other things at Hatton. We'll get to that a little bit later, but just our listeners, if you are listening, obviously Calhoun Community College in the south end of Limestone County, hence the Limestone County sports, and I'm sure Coach Bowling will be around some of your schools hopefully soon, possibly recruiting kids when the doors open for that. But just Coach, try to give us a little bit of overview of born and raised, where you're from, high school days, and we'll just get rolling from there.
I'll try to make it short and sweet, I guess. Born and raised Moulton, Alabama. Went to Lawrence County High School. Finished up there, went to the University of South in Swanee, Tennessee.
What year did you graduate from Lawrence County?
2001.
01.
Yeah, we were pretty good, successful, I guess you'd say, athletically there. Long story, from there to Swanee. 1 year at Swanee, football, and finished season football. Started out to go up there for two sports. Went out for about 2 days of baseball and said the two sports stuff with academics is way too much. So
Yeah.
finished up that year there, went back to Northwest Shoals Community College, and then from there went to the University of Alabama. Finished an undergraduate degree in political science and history. Had aspirations to go to Washington, D.C. and do something special. Enrolled in a graduate program at University of Alabama in political science.
Yeah.
Drove to Washington, D.C. for the first time in my life. First time in my life I ever went to Washington, D.C. I drove from Tuscaloosa to D.C., was fortunate enough to do an internship for Senator Richard Shelby. Left that, worked in the private sector for a little bit, and it took about, can't remember the days, I tell the story different from time to time, but it was about 5 days, and I said, I can't live in a cubicle for the rest of my life. Jumped back in my pickup truck, drove all the way back down to Tuscaloosa, and re-enrolled in the graduate fifth-year program at Alabama, worked on a master's in secondary education.
Yep.
Got my first job at Northridge High School, fresh out.
Northridge, where is that?
Tuscaloosa.
Gotcha.
Yeah, not North Side, not to be confused with North Side, but yeah, Northridge, Tuscaloosa City School System. Became a linebackers coach. Originally was going to go into baseball, and then go from that point. The next year was named defensive coordinator at the ripe age of about 25 years old.
Yeah.
That was a unique experience because I was not ready for that role, but it was no other option at that point.
Yeah.
Like you got to learn it and figure it out. So we did that, transferred over to softball, served 1 year as the assistant coach, and then the school decided to make changes in both the baseball and softball programs at that point in time. Once they did that, I had no desire to be a softball coach, and really the reason why was because I didn't really want to be around girls. And I grew up with a family full of guys, and but that year taught me a lot. We came in and I saw that girls were really, really eager. I've said this 100 times because I think I've flipped back and forth 6 times in my career to baseball, softball. The one thing that's really unique to girls that I guess more so different than guys, girls try so hard to be coachable, almost to the point where they forget to let their natural instincts take over. They become robots. So, the fun part is that they're coachable, but the bad part is, okay, so sometimes, kid, you just got to let it go. You got to be you.
Yeah.
But back and forth we went. Left there, came back to North Alabama after some opportunities. Tried to rebuild the football program in Lawrence County High, alma mater, with Coach Denton. We got that program going in the right direction. Was the head baseball coach there. Made the playoffs for the first time, and after moving up classification to 5A. Once we finished up there, I went back to Northridge, Tuscaloosa, with the intent, to plan out. I knew the head coach that I had worked under was about to retire, and thought we would take that over. In that process, we found out that my wife and I was pregnant with our first child. So she's here locally, and then I'm in Tuscaloosa, and then obviously she's got a better job than I do.
Yeah.
So I said, all right. But I was fortunate enough that Coach Brent Gillespie, who had been a long-time friend and I guess you'd say somewhat of a mentor in a lot of ways, but called me, and we discussed the job at Hatton over and over. Wasn't real sure I wanted to take it, but came in, and then in I guess it would have been the fall of 2016, became the football coach, and then the 2017 season coached softball. And year one, we won the state championship then, and then
that's pretty good. Pretty good start.
Yeah, pretty good start. Bad part about that, though, we had everybody coming back year two, and we're the best softball team I've ever coached to this day, and then we didn't make it out of regionals.
Really?
So, yeah, bad coaching job.
At least you're taking credit for it.
That's right. But
most everybody's best softball team they ever coached was the COVID year.
Yeah, well,
I've heard that several times.
Right. We bounced back from that year, though, and we came in as a state runner-up, and probably one of the proudest moments I've been as a coach was of that team, because of the adversity they faced over the course of that season, and was able to bounce back from the year before. And then obviously we dealt with COVID the next. I think we were number one in the state. We're sitting at like 10-2, and we were. There was a lot of good teams, in North Alabama at that point in time. I remember. So, it was. You sit back and you look as a head coach. You always say woulda, coulda, shoulda, but who knows what happens. But we were a pretty good team that year. Had to rebuild. We lost some key parts, and then on into it we went. And we won it in 2023. Won it again, and then retired from softball with the mindset of, okay, I'll help oversee both baseball and softball, and some things, as most things do in education, went from one way or another. And then I became the baseball coach 36 hours after walking off the field in Oxford, Alabama as a state champion, and went back to baseball, and had a great time doing that. Had a great group of kids. It won a very successful program at that point. I remember going out first day, like, here we go again, and I don't know that we'll win a game. We're not very good, and I think we ended up winning. We won 22, 23 games that year, so it was a good time. But that's kind of the short version of the long, I guess you would say.
Yep. So what does playing, you said you got to play some college football at Sewanee, right?
That's correct.
For the listeners, where's Sewanee?
Sewanee, Tennessee. It's right outside of Winchester, Tennessee, Division III. We were, as I was told, was going to qualify for Division II. I don't know that there was ever any intent, so obviously I'm not in the administrations of those places. But I don't know how I was recruited to that. It may have been just a recruiting tool at that point. But
right.
But yeah, it was a unique.
Do you have
experience.
any other offers?
I had a couple of small school stuff, a couple of junior college things going for baseball, and then football guys, some walk-on things. But other than that, nothing. That was a place that I thought, okay, I can do two sports here. So I went that route.
So how did your college playing days look?
Pretty good. Football wise, I mean, we brought in a freshman class with us that was very talented, from all over kind of the southeast. I think we ended up 5-5. We had a lot of key injuries. We started a lot of freshmen. I'll say this: the bad part about it is none of us focused on our grades good enough at that point. Swanee is a tough academic place, so But no, we were good. It was a good time. I mean, I always, and I tell kids as I recruit them, you have the opportunity to go on the next level, and then you are left with the choice whether you want to keep that or maximize that opportunity or not, and you don't want to look back on life with regret. So I get to look back and say, yes, I was an NCAA athlete. Yeah, and I'm very thankful and fortunate for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. In regards to, I know you've coached several different sports. You mentioned football, softball, baseball. I think on your bio, Calhoun's already got your bio up, by the way.
Okay.
I don't know if you noticed that or not. They got your mug shot and everything.
That's great.
I think they mentioned bowling.
Bowling and wrestling.
Wrestling,
That's
too.
correct.
How did that go?
Well, we didn't have a wrestling program at Lawrence County High School.
Yeah.
Didn't know much about wrestling, and then at Northridge High School, they needed a coach. So the first high school wrestling match I ever coached was the first high school wrestling match I ever attended. So
Nice.
it was learned by fire.
Yeah.
I make reference to it all the time. In order to succeed in this business, you've got to be the best copycat. So I go back to that story because I really didn't know what to tell my kids. I mean, we had practices. A couple of guys would come in and try to teach them, but they weren't able to be at the matches that day. And I just stopped and I'd listen to what the other coach, who was a very successful coach, was screaming at his team to do, and I would scream the opposite. I'd be like, shoot the half. And don't let them shoot the half. Come on, what we doing? And I'll never forget it. A kid looks at me and says, Coach, what's the half? I said, shh, leave me alone. I'm trying to coach.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know yet.
Yeah, right. But it was learned by fire, and we ended up having some success when we started figuring it out. Bowling was much of the same thing. I grabbed most of the offensive linemen I could grab from the football team, and we were pretty successful in football down there. But grabbed them and told them to grab the heaviest bowling ball they could find and roll it as hard as they could possibly roll it, and see how many pins we could bank off of it. And then I had a girls team, but we ended up making regionals in that, so we were successful. So it was just kind of built it by fire.
Head coach Donnie Story, he's girls basketball at Elkmont, and yesterday him and his son over at East Limestone a few years ago won a state championship in bowling. Yeah. And so he's got a ring from bowling. Yeah. There you go.
It's an interesting deal for him.
Yeah, sure is. Now, if you've mentioned football, softball, it may vary by sport. If you had to put a label on your coaching style, and I think you're about the fifth or sixth coach we've talked to in as many weeks, and I ask every coach this, and it's about split. Half of them's on the offensive side, half of them's on the defensive side. I know sometimes, especially smaller schools, you're coaching everything. We get that. But would you consider yourself more of an offensive guy or a defensive guy?
Which sport?
Either. All of them.
Right. So I believe in defense, right? And that kind of was ingrained in me early on. Because in football I came up defensively. Was obviously a defensive player myself, played some offense, but I think it was the mindset, and I think the mindset's kind of what builds us as coaches of what kind of player we were. I was an aggressive type player. I was a competitor. I wasn't the most talented player on the field with some of the guys I played with in high school, and played with some really good ones. But at the same point, that will to compete drove me as a player, and then obviously that kind of carried over into coaching because – starting out early as a defensive coordinator, I worked with some great staff members, some young guys that were kind of like me, and we had three rules: get lined up, do your job, and fly the football. And those words stand with me forever as far as football goes. But I think that kind of parlays over to softball / baseball, diamond sports as I call them, because offensively you can adjust a lot of things. You can adjust the game plan of attack to how you want to turn around and try to portray yourself as a team. With us, I believe in good defense. I mean, if we can play sound defense on a diamond, reduce the errors, because errors are going to happen, but if we can reduce those and be mentally where we need to be, then I think the physical part takes care of itself, and we can hold teams at bay. So, we spend a lot of time on defense. And then because offensively that may change. So, for instance, if I've got a really shifty and athletic team, we may do a lot of small ball stuff. If I've got, it's crazy as a coach to sit here and say, okay, we're going to turn around, we're going to play small ball, and I've got 4 kids in the lineup with 15 home runs each. There's no need. Versus same, 6, half dozen the other. If I've got, a big team, then we don't need to turn around and try to play small ball. So
makes sense. As far as Calhoun goes, and I apologize, you may not even know the answers to these questions yet. Just looking at your team, and you said you got your roster like 2 days ago or something?
I did get my roster 2 days ago, and I was fortunate enough to meet those incoming 25s, which we're full. We've afforded all of our scholarships. But I met those girls the other day. I think I met 20 of them, and I may remember 4 of their names over the course of the past 48 hours because I had Monday afternoon and then yesterday morning with those girls. So
did all of the freshmen return?
To my knowledge, everybody has returned. Except one non-scholarship player. So at this point, that's where we stand roster-wise. So we're full. We've got a full roster.
How many is that?
24.
Got 24. And just asking questions because I don't know. I'm sure a lot of our listeners don't know. Is all of your 24 all scholarships?
I have 24 scholarships. Yes, I have one non-scholarship player.
Is those 24 scholarships, are those full ride scholarships?
Yes, correct.
Gotcha. And I kind of looked at the roster. I think the roster I was able to look at was from last year, but Calhoun's pulling girls from all over the state.
That's right.
Some from even outside the state.
Yeah. That was this weekend. And Coach Daugherty kind of entrusted me with this program, and we made a little bit of a joke about it. When I talked to him about this job, North Alabama softball is really, really good.
Yep. Hotbed.
Yeah, there's a lot of good softball played up here at the high school level. Your travel organizations are exceptional in developing that talent and kind of cultivating it over the course of the summer when high school coaches are doing workouts and things like that. So that's a good thing to see. But at the same point in time, you're starting to see the growth throughout the other part of the state. So I go back to what I was saying. It was like, are we just going to stay in one county? We want to win at Calhoun. But if a kid can come out and play and they choose to come to Calhoun Community College, and that's what we're going to do. We've got a vision there.
Right.
So that's the way we look at it. But, yes, all over the state. And, again, this weekend, we made some offers for the 27 class I'm excited about. And then right now we're kind of behind on the 26 class because of the way things happen. Yeah. We're more limited on the way the scholarship breakup happens between who's here and who's not. I explained that to some of the campers yesterday. Typically, for your listeners that are curious, typically you want to stay kind of in that middle, right? You want to stay, you don't want one class to be, 5 and one class to be 20 because then you got a complete overhaul. And you hope not lose anybody that's here. But, right now, as it stands at this very minute, and that could have changed since I've been sitting here. But everybody's coming back. So we're 9 and 15. So, right now we're looking at we've got 9 26s. And then we've got 15 27s. Now, some of that's subject to change, kids transfers, kids opt out, those type of situations. But that's at the moment what we know. So we're kind of more conservative right now with the 26s, but with the goal in hand of what the vision of Calhoun Community College is. Dr. Hodges and Athletic Director Daugherty are trying to put forward and to be able to move forward as a college to because we are the biggest community college in the state of Alabama. Some people don't realize that. Yeah. But we've got to brand ourselves and become successful that way. Yep.
Biggest community college in the state of Alabama. Kind of glad you brought that up in regards to your conference that you guys play in or league. What does that look like? Like who? When I was looking through your schedule, it looks like you're playing a ton of other community colleges. Most of those are in the state. Yes. I assume that you're in some type of conference that is just a Alabama
Community College
Conference. Got it. And do you guys have a tournament you're playing for at the end of the season? What's that look like?
You're trying to qualify for, to get to that end tournament and then obviously win that one so you can get the bid to the national tournament. So, that's our goal.
The National Community College Tournament.
Yeah, so there's Division I and Division II. So not all junior colleges in the state of Alabama are Division I. So we 2 leagues that you play in. And then, that's kind of the goal is for obviously any kid that goes and wants to compete to end as a champion. But that's what we shoot for. Last year, the team made the tournament. Some people, well, which one are you, Division I, Division II? Well, we're Division I, and then we're based out of I guess Wallace, Hanceville. That's kind of the premier part, which Coach Daugherty's got a big connection there. Obviously, haven't had success he had while he was coaching there, but so we're playing with a little chip on our shoulder coming in to try to make some noise because our vision is create the foundation of what's here right now. Year 2, bring in some 26s that help us, and then by year 3, bring those 27s in and turn around and see where this program's going to rise to. Yeah.
Is there opportunities when you're scheduling to jump into some tournaments or some preseason things or some exhibitions with the Alabamas, the SEC programs where your girls are getting exposed to that, or is that something that you guys want to do?
Yeah, in the fall you can cross over. Like this fall, I got handed the schedule as you take it on, and I just looked at it today. So we'll go to University of Alabama Huntsville.
Yeah.
Which obviously is a successful program. Coach Les ran that really well for so many years.
Yeah.
We're going to Alabama A&M. But we get 14 dates, so we're trying to look at that. I know we've got a couple already scheduled, some other junior colleges, and a couple of times for the fall season. So we'll gauge that, look at it, and then obviously when the spring season starts, no, we can't cross over. But
Gotcha.
So that's the way that works.
Yeah. Well, I know the schedule I looked at, it was all, I guess, everybody that was in conference or whatever.
Yeah, so you play the early non-conference season, and then when your conference season kicks up there in March, it's go time. So it's either Thursdays and Saturdays, double headers. One comes here, one goes there.
Yeah.
Which is unique because I did find out today. So like Coastal being as far south as it is, so last year Calhoun went to Coastal to play the Friday instead of doing home and home. They just played all 4 games there, and then this year they will come to us. So it kind of
gotcha. It works out.
Yeah. So
I know you mentioned a little bit about recruiting. Like what does that look like as compared to big time SEC D1s, and they're talking NIL and all of those things. Obviously, you guys are offering scholarships. So, what does a day of recruiting look like for Coach Bolin at Calhoun?
Well, I think you alluded to it earlier. It's been 6 days on the job, so it's been 6 different days of how it looks. I was on the phone with one a while ago, and then something else happened. But I made sure that we were in contact with that particular recruit, and then you hang up, and then you got to go do a couple other things and come back. So the day to day of that is, you want to go out and my I don't want to give exactly everything away in my measurements, and scales and stuff, and somebody might be out there trying to cheat and take advantage of me.
That's right.
We're here to compete them and beat them, but no, like there are numbers and there are metrics that we all shoot for. And I would tell any young girl or their parent who's listening to this, just because if your child's a pitcher per se and they don't throw 60 mile an hour, there's still spots for those players. I mean, 60 is it has been the magic number since I got in softball years ago. I mean, we even back when we were pitching at 40 feet, it's just a number, right? Because if you can throw it 60 but you can't locate it, then fine. But then same thing over the top. You want to say over the top velo from an infielder at 60. Well, they're over the top at 60, but then it takes them 2 seconds to get the ball out of their glove. Somebody may be over the top at 55, but the transition time dictates obviously where they would play in the field in our system. But that 55 and getting out of the glove a second quicker ultimately is going to be better than the 60 if it takes that long. So those are the things that we do grade those numbers. We grade players based on certain metrics. That's our system. I was fortunate enough to spend a lot of time in Tuscaloosa, being around the University of Alabama's program, even as a coach, not necessarily a student, but as a coach, and see that and kind of adapted over the years, I guess you would say, what we look for in this and that. But those numbers have stood my test of time and the success that we've been able to have based on what we believe in. So, there's no size of this or that, but you turn around, you look at high school softball. I was always a firm believer when I was a high school coach. I want to put my kids in position to be seen, but I also at Hatton, we were a 2A school, but we played a 6A, 7A schedule regular season to get us prepared for the postseason, and I think that philosophy worked well. So sometimes even small school, that kid particularly goes to a 1A or a 2A. I don't necessarily think you can evaluate a kid just on that. But if their team wins 40 games and they beat teams that are 2-25, well then you have to look okay. But along those lines, then you get into what creates the culture of the program that you're trying to build. You see a kid compete, you turn around, you look at them over and over again. Can you do it? Can you make it work? Do you want this kid to be a part of your program? And in turn, it's got to be the fact that the kid wants to be a part of your program as well. So, I was at camp this past week. It's 100 25 degrees, it seemed like. And I'm going.
It was 125.
But no, there was a particular kid on the team that somebody said, hey, you need to give her a look. Well, I'm scrounging on. There's no assistant coach. It's me, a backpack, and a 4-wheel drive truck driving back and forth doing trying to research all I can get. But I made a reference to my daughter when I got home. This kid, she had on white jersey, had on white pants, white socks. Third game of the day, playing on dirt, not turf. Third game of the day on dirt, and told me how good this kid could hit. So I finally got over there to see her. And the thing that stood out in my mind is, why is her uniform that clean? Because, I'm wearing colored clothes and I'm nasty.
Yeah.
So,
right.
And again, that kid probably is a player. But as far as the fit for our program, what we're looking for to fit in, and, I was telling my daughter, I said, if that's the case, I said, if you find yourself clean after 3 games, at least take the time to rub your hands in the dirt and rub it on your body, because you don't know who's looking. But along those lines, I also saw a kid, was the last one to leave the dugout, a kid that we were looking at long and hard, and was the last one to leave the dugout, picking up all the trash, wasn't told to do that. So that's a high-character kid, and that matters. So
that was about to be my next question. Obviously, probably always wanting 5 stars, but – it's high character kids, the kids who have it between the ears and maybe lack some of the athleticism. Is there, places for those kids in the program?
Yeah, there are a lot of good college softball coaches in this conference. There's a lot of good college softball coaches throughout the state at all levels, obviously. But I'm not. Some coaches, I'm gonna shoot you straight kind of guy. Like if you're not a very good softball player, it's going to be hard to play college softball. Yeah. Now a lot of people assume that their kid is the best college softball. I get it, right? But being on this end of things and having coached it for so long, I make the joke all the time to my kids. And my daughter was terrible. Oh, she was terrible. And my wife will get mad at me even probably when she listens to this. But I told her, I said, she's bad. She's trying. I know she's trying, and I'm proud of her. And I hope she keeps trying. And then she's improved, and now she's loves the game of softball.
How old is she now?
She's 9. She just turned 9.
Oh, she's getting after it now,
right. So, a little hesitant, but that part's been fun. But no, there is a reality that has to set in, and as a prospective player or a prospective player parent, you have to look and say, okay, you can't look and evaluate things with blinders. And it's never tough you wish you had infinite amounts of scholarships available to turn around, but in turn, we're paying for an education, which is ultimately what we want to contribute to a better society by putting good quality student athletes out into the real world or pushing them to 4 years, things like that. I can't speak to anyone on my current roster because I haven't seen them. There's one that actually, ironically enough, played for me in the last state championship before I got out. So I do know her.
Got one.
Yeah, I do know her, which is funny how that worked out. But no, it's a culmination for what we want. We want good softball players, but we also have certain attributes that are non-negotiable. Like you can be a good softball player, but if you walk out and you're not a good teammate, then I don't need you around because ultimately you're going to destroy the culture of the team, and with the culture of the team falls, so does the results.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Was okay. Hey, here's this 5-star stud, but body language is terrible. Cancerous to team culture. I'm assuming you're just running from somebody with those attributes.
Yeah, it's a tough situation because obviously we want to be successful, and unfortunately in our business, success is measured by wins and losses.
Right.
I choose not to measure success by wins and losses, but to measure by other things like do we run a good, clean program? Are we doing things the right way? Are we getting kids in class? Are they making good grades? So it's always a tough situation as a coach, but it's also my job as a coach to just take time and research what this kid is. I've spent probably 2.5 hours today on the phone with high school coaches because as a former high school coach, I know how much time those high school coaches spend with those kids, not just on a softball field. in a weight room, in a classroom, in the hallways, those type things to me, and that information is just as important as going out to a travel ball tournament on a weekend.
Yeah.
And saying, man, that kid can play, and having somebody come up and tell you, okay, here's what she does on the softball field, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But understanding what home life is like and understanding the kid, because we're not talking about 22, 23-year-olds. We're talking about kids that are fresh out of high school, so they are still kids. I know technically and legally they're adults, but they're still kids. And so we try to evaluate that and measure that just as much and get as much information as we can about it.
Yep. Well, sounds like you getting off to a good start there, Coach. Getting after it. In regards to coaching, got one more question for you. Is there a golden nugget there? And you've already mentioned several, but a golden nugget or a coaching quote that somebody has shared with you, or somebody said it's just stuck with you for all of your coaching years, and you continue to use it? Just anything.
I'm a big quote guy, and I've been fortunate enough to be around a lot of guys who have done it the right way and have been successful. So you try to take this from them or that from them and make it applicable to what you want to do as a coach. But I'll say it's simple for anybody listening, and I've tried to apply it to even my life. It's why I'm in this seat right now. There are people who set goals, and there are people who dream. And this is kind of you said a quote, but I guess it's just a culmination of different things, but it's a philosophy I live by. So there are people who set goals, and there are people who dream. And then you turn around and you realize that dreams are nothing more than goals that you never plan to attain. So, as a firm believer in setting a goal, it's something that you want to attain, and then you got to be willing to work to do it. I mean, so that's the kind of way you play that out. Can't say that anything is not impossible and all this. You got to buy into that. But, I can sit back and dream about doing this or doing that, but it doesn't mean I'm willing to put in the work to make it happen.
Yeah.
So, those that set goals typically will find themselves where they want to be.
Yeah. That's good, Coach. Good stuff. All right, Coach, we got some quick hitters. I'm just going to give you random questions, may give you a this or that, and you just shoot me straight, first thing that comes to your mind, and we'll run through a few of these, and then we'll wrap it up. You ready?
Yes, sir.
I think the first one, I already know the answer to this. We're going to start off pretty easy. And first couple are pretty easy. First question, War Hawks or War Eagles?
Well, I don't even know what you said the second time. It's War Hawks. I mean, there's no other.
And you spent a lot of time in Tuscaloosa, so that was probably the easiest pitch I've ever thrown out there on quick hitters.
Served it up. There you go.
I did. Next one, beach or mountains?
Beach.
Okay, I'm headed to the beach. Like when we get done with this, I'm gone.
Lucky you.
Headed to Panama City for a few days. So yeah, I'm right with you on that. 100 degrees or snow?
Snow.
What about your kids?
What my kids would say. My kids may say snow. They may.
You much prefer the cold weather over the hot weather?
It's without a doubt.
Man,
without a doubt.
I can sweat.
I'm a Green Bay Packers fan. I love Lambeau Field.
Yeah.
I mean,
Have you been there?
Yes.
Sweet.
Yes.
I can sweat all day. If it gets below 50, I'm useless.
Yeah.
Favorite athlete of all time?
Ooh. As a supporter of the athlete, or looking back on the career and now having the respect for it?
Yeah.
Favorite athletes of all time, I've got to go Griffey or Favre. But looking back on and who they were and their mindset and what made them successful, I've got to go Jordan or Brady. I mean, those
Jordan or Brady. Yeah, one of my questions yesterday, which I changed today because there's another just meatball, was Manning or Brady.
Yeah, I would still go Brady.
Yeah,
I'd still go Brady.
We decided that yesterday when we were recording. Brady for sure. Well, we got Jordan. He's to go. Oh, well, I've asked everybody else, Jordan or LeBron.
It's not even a question.
I've had 100% Jordan.
Jordan played defense.
Agree. And
6-time defensive MVP or defensive player of the year, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, he didn't get the flops of the year. I know that.
LeBron's good. I'm not gonna say game changes. The game's changed in every sport all the way up. I mean, take even softball. The game has changed over the last 10 years and even the last 20. So the game changes. I'll give LeBron credit, but he's not Jordan.
Do you think he's 1B?
I got to go, if there's anything close to a B, I go Kobe just because of the mindset.
And then 3,
Yeah.
LeBron 3?
I mean, talent alone, you got to go LeBron. I'll say that. Talent alone, you got to
Yeah.
go LeBron because he's a freak of nature.
Yes.
I mean, he's, 6'8", 6'9", 245. I mean, Jordan wasn't that big. Kobe wasn't that big. But no, I mean, you can't leave out like the Bill Russells of the world and the Birds or Magics of the world. We overlook them far too long. We get that. But as far as mindset goes, Kobe, if you got to go B, it's because I'm a mindset guy. It's got to be Kobe.
Yeah, I like it. All right. Relative college recruiting, all of those things. Would you consider yourself old school or NIL?
Old school. The game's changed, and being a high school football coach, we've all seen the recruiters of college football, which has it by far worse than anybody at this point in time. But now you're seeing it lapse over. These guys are frustrated because they're coming in trying to recruit players to fill spots for guys, and then at the same point in time, they're on the road not just recruiting players to find for the future. They're trying to recruit their own kids to keep them to stay.
Yeah.
So there's the big disadvantage there. Coach Saban talked about that when all this stuff would come around. It was a school. I'm not going to use their name, but it was a school. I spoke with a coach. He was trying to recruit his starting tackle to stay enrolled at his university, his starting tackle, who was going to be a senior.
Yeah.
But there was a school who had offered him X number of NIL dollars to go and basically be a backup. It's like this coach was telling me. He said, you know, he's a starter here and he has a chance to get to the NFL. Late round draft pick, lower level Division I, late round draft pick, or, get a free agent contract. And he said if he goes there, he's not going to have that opportunity. I keep trying to tell him that. And he said, but then I had to stop and I have to think to myself, the kid came back at me with, that's fine, you said a chance. But I know a guarantee is if I can go make $75,000 practicing every day, and if I do get hurt, that's money in my pocket if I don't make it. And I said, and this is the college coach telling me this, and I'm like, man, that's tough. He said, yeah, because how do I sell a kid on this? And that's just one example of the stuff that's going on. It's out of hand. I hate it, and then we're fixing to see it. I predict we're about to see it get worse and worse and worse until somebody gets some type of legislation in to govern it, because these guys that do it every day and the most respectable guys in the business. I use the SEC right now. Take Alabama, Auburn out of the equation. You've got Coach Kiffin and Coach Smart, who had the opportunity to get to know in Tuscaloosa, but they're all over it right now. I mean, nobody, they're pounding their fist on the desk and the tables, and nobody's listening.
Right. Yeah, I'd agree with you there too. Old school, man. Home run derby or dunk contest?
Derby.
Yeah, we just had the MLB derby was a couple nights ago. Watched that at the house. Enjoyed it a lot. The dunk contest of old, I'm in on. The Dominic Wilkins, Jordan.
Even Harold Miner. Yeah, I give you some of those.
One of the most entertaining, because I'm vertically challenged, the Spud Webb dunk contest. Very entertaining.
Mm-hmm. Vince Carter, a lot of good guys in the dunk contest.
Yep. Okay, softball coaching question. I don't know how much you've watched the AUSL, the professional softball league that's been playing this summer. I think they end up their season this upcoming weekend and week in Tuscaloosa. I think they got a series down there, and then the playoffs, I think, are being played in Tuscaloosa first of next week. I've seen it a couple times, and it's drove me nuts, so I need an opinion on it.
Okay.
They do the international tiebreaker, and this can apply not even a tiebreaker, but any other inning, tight game. No outs, runner on second. Are you bunting every time, or depends on your batter?
Am I home or away?
That's a good question. I didn't think about that. You're away. You're the visitors.
I'm first up in
Yes.
ITB. I've played it different ways over my career. There was one of the greatest high school coaches in the state of Alabama, in my opinion, is Matt Hendricks down at Auburn High School, and we were playing them down in a tournament. It was a 1-1 game, 2-1 ball game. We tied it up, pushed it on, and I let it play out, and then his pitcher run out of gas. Anyway, so we went 7 innings of a 2-2 ball game, and I think the final score ended up 12-11, all in 1 inning, and it wasn't because of errors. It was so. We've let it play out. I think depending on the situation, the batter you have at hand, is the runner a plus runner on second? Because then you have to stop and think about, okay, am I going to utilize a substitute here to get whoever that last runner is that goes in? And if they're stuck in that lineup and you go to second round of ITB, then they have to bat. I mean, I think you have to take it farther. So the common sense thing is that you play for the run, but if you don't get that run, then that makes it easier for the home team. So it's always better being the home team on the ITB than it is
okay.
away.
You go to the bottom of the inning, still tied. Visitor didn't score. You start with that runner on second, no outs.
Depends the strength and weaknesses of my hitters versus the pitcher in the circle.
You can pinch hit though.
Well, it depends how deep you are in your roster, but I mean, you're going to try to at least get them to third, so I give you that. And then if you don't have somebody, because they're going to bring the infield in when you do that, and typically they're going to bring the outfield in after that, which also eliminates. You got to have a stud hitter. So if you've got a kid up there that's just been known to hit singles, I mean, you may have a 5-man infield come at you. You may see what the scouting report is. But if you bring the outfield at that point in time, they're going to be shallowed up. So if you don't have a deep fly ball hitter up, disadvantage to you. So then you got to walk around. So. But defensively, if I didn't get the run in the first, and now that runner's at third, most likely, then the other two don't matter. And if I've got a pitcher pounding the zone, I may put the next two on just to create the bases loaded situation. But if one out, I could create the double play, back them up. So I mean,
I like the way you think it, Coach. A lot more to it than just bunting the runner over. I appreciate that, man. Hey, I've been sitting at the house watching that. My daughter's been picking up on it. We've been watching it, and not a lot on during the summer sports-wise. And, hey, Montana Fouts and some names that my daughter knows. And, man, it drives me nuts. They get on second base, got to have a run in, no outs, and next 3 batters,
swinging at it.
Yep. 3 outs, and we didn't even get the runner over, guys.
Yeah.
What are we doing? But, hey, I appreciate the knowledge, much more knowledgeable than myself. I say that. All right, last question. Greatest play call of all time that you've made in any sport?
Greatest play call. I mean, I don't make very many play calls that are very good. Sometimes it's tough.
It could be defense.
I'll tell you, we were, and it was the only time as a head coach I ever turned around and let the fence-hugging fan know exactly what I thought about him. I can pinpoint that, and it was in a football game. I feel like I've been fortunate enough to make some decent calls. I'll give you a football and a softball, and then I'll finish with that. So football, we're facing a 3rd and probably 42 from our own 5-yard line. And, it was a difficult situation. We don't have many plays in the playbook for 3rd and 42. The best athlete on the field wasn't on our team, but it just so happened to be returning would be returning punts for the opposing team. So 3rd and 42, and we elected to punt real quick out of an offensive formation. All right, so fans are screaming, "Why don't we punt? It's only 3rd down." So they think we've lost track of the down. But I knew if my theory was we have a bad snap, we were up by 1 at this point in time.
Oh, okay.
So if we have a bad snap out of the end zone, that's a safety. We go down, and then they get the ball back, and they go run the clock out. We get it blocked, they recover it for 6, and we're the likelihood at this point in time if we complete a pass down the field for 42 yards or break one, because we didn't have a 4-2 kid running, so we punted anyway. Didn't punt to the athlete. The other team they did get the ball on roughly our 48, 49-yard line, but anyway, first play they fumbled. We got it back. So, and at that point I turned around and the only time usually I don't hear that stuff. I don't hear the outside noise, but this fan had been
wearing it out.
Yeah, wearing it out. Softball 2023, I guess one that really stands out, and there's a coach here in Ardmore, Alabama that will remember this, because I don't know that she supported it at the time or if she didn't. We practiced the trick play we'd practiced it for 6 years. And we had never run it in a game, to my knowledge. We had never run it in a game. Maybe we did once, it didn't work. But it had to be the situation. I'm not going to give the secret away, but the situation had to be right. It's kind of like a hidden ball trick. We're in the 8th inning of a game against a team that was competing their tails off against us. And the situation had to be right in order. And everything played out perfectly. We've done it in baseball several times, but nothing in as meaningful of a game as what was going on here, because win this game, I believe it was win this game, and you go on to the championship. Right? So, but it was a dogfight, and we were getting gassed. The heat was getting to us. So we put the trick play on, and then it worked out, and we ended up coming in. We scored the run to win it in the 8th, I believe, that game, to push us into the winner's bracket seed. So, it was a hidden ball trick there.
Is there video evidence of this play floating around there somewhere?
I don't know. I hope not.
I'll ask the coach you referenced and see if she's got it in our playbook.
I hope she does.
I hope she does too. If she don't, she's going to now. I'm going to make her put it in and practice it. Speaking of her, Coach, before we go here, I just want to say appreciate what you've been doing for young people all over the state. You've been doing this for almost 3 decades now.
Yeah, that seems like
for a long time. Yeah. Continuing doing it now at the next level, and not only investing in kids and young people, but other coaches. That's kind of how you and I got connected today. Whitney King up at Ardmore, she coached with you guys over at Hatton for a little while, and man, she speaks very highly of you. So I appreciate you not only investing in them kids, but investing in your coaching tree. You hear coaching tree when you hear like Saban and Kirby Smart and all those guys, and we're kind of seeing that at our level of ball, and so I appreciate that, and appreciate you continuing to do all those things, and wish you the best of luck down there with the War Hawks.
I appreciate it. And it's,
you didn't have to change colors either.
That's right.
And Calhoun's pretty much royal blue, right?
Royal blue and white. There you go. But no, it's good high school coaches that make players develop at the next level. And I think a lot of times that gets lost in what we try to accomplish. Now I can say at the collegiate level, but you take coaches like you referenced, like Coach King, that, it takes somebody that loves the game, has a passion for the game, and has the knowledge of the game. You and I were talking earlier. I mean, she's played at the highest level, but ultimately you want a coach that will compete. And I would say, and there are a lot of good coaches. Coach Nate over at East Limestone, Coach Smith over at Athens. I mean, just take Limestone County because that's where we're at right now. Even Coach Moran back in the day, we used to go back, have wars with Tanner over here. It was – high school coaches invest in kids, and they do it basically for nothing. You think about the time that, and I always said that the time that they spend with the kids that are involved in their program is more time they spend with their own kids, which they do it for. And one time I calculated that I think I made $1.16 an hour for the duration of a year for coaching 2 sports. So if you reduce that by 1, it's not working. But that's the fun part of this job, and I look forward to being at Calhoun and working even more closely with some of these coaches over here in Limestone County. Well,
we appreciate you, Coach. Just a side note before we check out, here at Lindsay Lane Baptist Church, we try to invest in all of our local coaches as well. We got a coaches' night of encouragement coming up on August 1st. You're more than welcome to do that. Your calendar's probably already booked up by now, but if you are available, or any coaches in our area who are available on August the 1st, we've got free dinner sponsored by provided by JW Steakhouse down in Priceville. We'll feed you for free, got free child care, and we'll only keep you here for about an hour and a half, and just invest in all of our coaches and their spouses before their seasons get started in the fall. If you want to know more about that, reach out to us, send us a DM on any of our platforms. We can get you some information and get you signed up for that. Coach, anything else you want to say before we check out?
I would encourage anybody in the area, reach out to us. We're trying to get the road going, or get on the road and get going, trying to find names, trying to find fits for our program. So if you're a young girl listening to this program, say young, anywhere from 7th grade to 12th grade, because it's about where we're looking right now to try to get a database built so we can start following some kids, even the young ones. But we're excited. We're excited, super excited, and appreciative of the opportunity. I know myself and my family are that Calhoun has bestowed on us. But go Warhawks.
Go. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you next time on Limestone County Sports. God bless.